I'm Kevin O'Flaherty. I hope you enjoyed this Learn About Law video and podcast presented by O'Flaherty Law. If you need some help, please feel free to give us a call at 630-324-6666. That's 630-324-6666. We offer free consultations in many areas of law, and we have several locations for your convenience. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Hi, this is Andrew with Learn About Law, and in today's video we'll discuss shelter in place, quarantines, and your rights. So as a handful of major metropolitan cities and states begin issuing shelter in place orders and possible future quarantine, we are left asking ourselves questions such as, is it legal for me to go outside anymore? The airports are still open, can I fly? Will I get arrested for walking my dog? That last question might sound a little ridiculous, but during an unprecedented time with local officials issuing different statements around the country, it's difficult to discern real news from fear-mongering. So federal and CDC authority, it's definitely not fake is the power of the federal government, state government to issue orders such as state of emergency, containment zones, shelter in place, and quarantines. Up to this point, each state is handling its school closures, group restrictions, and lockdowns at its individual discretion. But can the state or government quarantine a person, area, or the entire country against their will? The answer to that is kind of a murky yes. The federal government has the authority to issue isolation and quarantine orders, both locally and federally, from the Commerce Clause of the U.S. Constitution. However, it is extremely unlikely for a federal quarantine to be issued, and to this reader's knowledge, the last time a federal quarantine was ordered was during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, and local quarantine is typically handled by the individual state. So let's talk a little bit about state authority as written by the National College of State Legislatures for Illinois and Iowa. So in the Illinois Department of Public Health, it's the governing body that has the power to declare new or existing quarantines. Each county should have a county board that has some degree of responsibility for the control of contagious diseases, including unincorporated areas. Corporate authorities of municipalities have jurisdiction for issuing quarantine for up to 1/2 mile beyond the corporate limits. Local authorities are charged with establishing quarantine. If someone contracts the coronavirus and refuses to quarantine, they could be charged with a Class A misdemeanor, which carries a fine of $2,500 and up to 1 year in jail. The same penalty could be levied against an individual who breaks a geographic shelter in place or quarantine order. The police have the authority to apprehend individuals who do not comply with quarantine orders, but this is unlikely unless the individual is behaving in a way that clearly endangers others. Businesses must be notified of any closure prior to local authority bringing any action forward. A business's refusal to close or any behavior that breaks the quarantine or closure order can be subject to fine and jail time. So in Iowa, the authority of the State Board of Health provides a forum for the development of public health policy. The Board of Health has the power to enforce prevention of epidemics and the spread of disease. An individual that knowingly violates a quarantine order or some other provision of the Iowa Board of Health is subject to a simple misdemeanor carrying a fine of up to $500 and no more than 30 days in jail time. Quarantine must be imposed by the least restrictive means possible to stop the spread of disease and decrease risks to the general public. While the Constitution prohibits state and federal government from denying anyone life and liberty without due process of law, if you're ordered to quarantine, you do not necessarily have the right to just leave your house and go about endangering the lives of others. As seen in a few cases where individuals have refused to self-quarantine after testing positive for the coronavirus, there has been some degree of police intervention. Generally, if you're quarantined, you do not have the right to leave, but you do have the right to demand some form of adjudication process to justify the quarantine. To put this into different terms, let's take an individual who is extremely mentally ill and poses a clear threat to those around him or her. Cases such as these have occurred in nearly all states and have resulted in some degree of quarantine and isolation against the will of the mentally unstable person. While quarantine due to coronavirus is different from this example, in regards to the illness, from a legal standpoint, it is actually pretty similar. In fact, in the case of mental illness, degree of illness and risk to the public is likely harder to prove in a court of law versus the diagnosis of COVID-19, which is simply either positive or negative, with the risk to the public obvious. As far as federal quarantine is concerned, individuals entering the U.S. from abroad can most certainly be detained, forced into quarantine, etc., but the power of the federal government to quarantine individuals already within the U.S. is fairly limited, and some experts argue that the federal government can't really impose a nationwide lockdown. Hopefully things won't get to this point, and we won't need to argue the legal merit of such an order. As always, thanks for tuning in.
Hi, Kevin O'Flaherty again from O'Flaherty Law. Hope you enjoyed our presentation of Learn About Law. If you need some help, please feel free to give us a call at 630-324-6666. That's 630-324-6666. We offer free consultations in many areas of law, and we have several geographic locations for your convenience. If you found this helpful, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts or watch your videos. Thank you so much for watching and listening.
Thanks so much for watching our video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Click the subscribe button for new videos every week, and download and review us on iTunes. Visit learn-about-law.com for other legal-related articles and videos. Visit our business podcast and video blog, seizeyourbusiness.com, and visit Making Real Estate Fun for real estate videos and podcasts. Call us at 630-324-6666 for a free consultation.